that formula with your physical being and with your physical body. So let's just deal with this. I'm dealing with a tree. I've gone through this whole process. I've gone through it. I'm using a tree. I'm using certain things. And now listen to me and listen very closely. You got to understand there's life. So say, for instance, we're talking about, I told you that elders can easily take a bird that flies very high, miles high in the sky, and that dives down into the water and captures a fish. That bird has incredible sight. That's physical. But we could take that bird and extract spiritually that concept. And we add it with certain medicine and so forth. And when we give it to you and you take it, you then begin to have the spiritual sight of someone who's able to see miles ahead of them, or days, or moments, or hours before something is going to happen. You're able to observe and to see far, not just physically, because you don't have those physical eyes, but spiritually. Let's back up. We're dealing with the herbs here. So what happens is you've taken all these aspects, the life force that exists within the blood, you take in mind the spiritual aspect of these herbs. Do you understand that? And you combine them, and then you put them on yourself. So what do plants do? What do plants do? They grow roots. They grow. So you've already taken life, and you've taken another aspect of life, and you fueled it, and then you take it to a living organism. Remember, you've already detached it from the living organism that it once existed on. And you are attaching it to your living organism, which is living. So where do you think that plant is going to live? And how is it going to integrate? Spiritually, it begins to integrate into you. It begins to spiritually grow on you. This is what we're talking about when we talk about spiritual bath. I'm not talking about some hocus pocus sitting in the bathtub with a white candle, chanting shamalama ding dong, and taking some bleach and some ammonia. We're talking about taking real aspects that exist within nature, personality, minds, powerful things that exist in trees, in different animals. Let's deal with this. You're not even talking about just a personality that exists within that tree or within that aspect of the vegetation, but you're also dealing with the aspects of the personalities, of the powers that existed within that animal that you're using. So now you're just taking the quality of something. So say, for instance, you use that bird, and I explained you took that bird. It had the quality of having super sight. So once you've taken that and you've grafted it, this is science. Anyone who thinks this is a science, they just don't know what they're talking about. When you deal with botany, what do? They can graft one plant and they can graft it to another, correct? Well, let's deal with this. You can graft vegetation to yourself, and it will integrate into your living organism. This is the science that we deal with in indigenous knowledge. This is what you call voodoo, juju. It's legitimate science here. This is what we're dealing with in Kemet. This is what we were dealing with. We were dealing with the operative knowledge of nature, how to integrate different aspects of nature within us. So, if we wanted to deal with aspects of protection, let me just give you an example. I'm just throwing something out here. We deal with the thorn bush. We're able to take a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and integrate these things, and then that thorn bush will begin to, spiritually, it grows on me. So that spiritually, when someone tries to do something they're not supposed to, what happens when you just rush and you throw your hands into a plant that has very powerful thorns? You hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Look, this is what we're talking about, spiritual baths. None of this metaphysical hocus pocus BS. We're talking about legitimate, the real indigenous science, real nature-based science. This is what spiritual baths are. So these spiritual baths, when you go to the site and you say, oh, what are these sticks? You don't understand, or you don't understand that these sticks carry very powerful, potent properties from specific plants and from specific spirits that follow those plants. And when there's sacrifices that are done, and when there's so forth and those things, and you bathe in these things, how does it stay on you for life? The same way you see a vine, that you plant a vine in an area, and you have all these trees, and you come back in years later, and that vine has overtaken all of those trees. It's all over. You've seen vines like that, huh?
Right.
That's what it does to your body. Spiritually, those things grow on you. Listen, brothers and sisters, this is more powerful than a lot of the stuff that they've been talking. They've been trying to mislead you into dealing with some of this foolishness. This is what spiritual baths are. And what you don't understand is that spiritual baths play a role in over 99.99% of anything that we do spiritual. Because how do you get the spirit on you? I'm explaining to you how you do it. This is how we get the spirits on us. Not just from sitting down and writing a circle on the ground, whatever. You could do it that way. You could do it that way. Don't get me wrong. But when you do it that way, plus you combine it with nature, where these things come from. Because look, you can't get away from it. Spirits don't come from anywhere but from nature and from the nature of your own mind. And if you're not dealing with those things, then you're not really dealing with it on that level. So I hope that answers your question, okay, brother?
All right, yeah, it did. It's actually answered both of them. So, so like I said, appreciate it and keep it up. Thanks, brother.
Good deal. Okay, so I want to make sure you can hear me clearly. Once again, I asked some questions online. People were asking if I'm on. Yeah, absolutely. I had a little technical difficulties there for a second, but I hope everyone can hear me fine. So if you brothers and sisters in the chat room could hear me, have someone go ahead and respond to me in the chat room by letting me know that you can hear me. But I hope you can, because I think I took care of that problem. So let's go ahead and go to the lines. I know I have some more people on here that want to ask them some more questions. 662, you're on the air. What is your name? What is your question? 662, you're on the air.
Hmm?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air. Okay.
Marcy.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get this one.
No. You want to ask him a question?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead. I hear the sister in the background. Go ahead. What is the question? Unless she has a question. Go ahead. Listen, this is the time to ask questions.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi. This is Jessica. I have a situation that it seems like. So I was just wondering. I'm going through a situation, but it seems like it's something else. As in something else is taking over. Maybe, like you said, spirits control places, things, people, or things. So I'm thinking, with my situation, is that maybe possible for what I'm going through, lack of income and stuff like that at this moment?
I'm not really positive exactly what you're asking. Explain that one more time for me, sister.
Okay. Basically, it's just some situation that things are coming up out of the blue. Just, it just comes up out of the blue. And it just seems like you were saying, that spirits control places or things. So I'm wondering, could that